Morning. I'm Lisa Maxwell. Today is Monday, March 30th. The elephants. I was thinking a lot about that King of Fire that came up in the end of and capped our reading. Krans has we're going to actually work with the ARC Animal Tarot and Oracle deck today by Bernadette King, artwork by Heidi Sutherland. But in the Animal Spirit deck by Kim Krans, she does that Wild Unknown tarot that we've worked with. Although, yeah, like if we let the element of too much air get into that fire of the King of Wands yesterday, we lose all that the King of Wands can be. Like when we get too heady, because that brings us like too heady, and now we're like, then that's where the fire becomes to get out of control. Like fire is a very tricky element, right? Can't take your eye off it. I had the great privilege of being at a Christmas party years and years ago at a home where the tradition was to have live candles on the tree. This was in America. This was not in Europe, but it is a European tradition, and it's obviously a very old tradition. Unbelievable experience. I can't even describe how incredibly magical and alive. And that's but there always has to be somebody in the room in order to appreciate and respect what's the circumstances that need to be kind of kept in order for that to be a safe situation. So appreciation is coming up. Just as I was pulling this deck out, the sheep came up. Appreciation. So appreciation there may be situations in our life that are no longer we're not gonna connect with people, or they're no longer part of our lives. I'm a Pisces. Like I have more Pisces placements than is okay for me. But so I never shut the door on anything. I always see larger possibilities. The end is only the beginning for me. But that vision isn't always available to people, and I have to respect that. I need to respect that rather than get frustrated about it and force situations that just aren't happening. Sure, I can keep talking with people as I'm able, but to expect a particular outcome, then we start to like put too much head into we're imposing a particular logic or a particular structure on something that, with the right amount of air and breath, will come to fruition in its own time and in divine timing. And that requires, the free will of the other party. So that Two of Pentacles, the King of Wands knows that. The King of Wands knows that. It's a balance of love and air to create a fire. And that Two of Pentacles, I kept also thinking about that too, and saying how I heard myself say, there's another element that's coming in. And when we actually bring in God's Spirit, we're bringing in whatever is higher than us. When we're in those situations that are a little fraught, where the fire's getting a little out of control, it's a little too hot in the kitchen, then we are not in that wise elephant, in it to, for the duration. willing to continue going, willing to continue showing up for, the things that we love and things that we value in this very grounded, methodical way. That's why elephants are actually the fire element in the Kim Krans deck. If we have time, I'll open that book up, or at least I'll do something in the commentary so you can have a little more context to that. But yeah, we're having to actually add breath. We're actually adding breath. We're actually what's the right amount? I was thinking of ingredients, like what's the missing ingredient when we get into these situations where things are starting to be out of control and we're not in that like steady, methodical, like solid elephant. It's when we're not in appreciation, respect for the divinity of the other elements that are involved in a situation, and we're overdoing, we're over responsible. Dorothy Morgan does a really great, and I'll post her stuff about a really great short about the upcoming full moon, which is day after tomorrow, which we're feeling that energy, and that, the cards are actually just a depiction and an explanation for how to work with the astrological stuff. Like I've said that before, and I absolutely invite you to work with an astrologer, learn astrology. Take your time, elephant, take your time. But yeah, we have to absolutely add divinity. What's the card? Queen of Pentacles. So Queen of Pentacles is coming up. The bear. Again, an earth element. So now we've gone from the Two of Pentacles now to the bear. So this is Earth Mother, protection, noble soul. Bears can be quick, but they're not going to go after you unless you go after them and you're encroaching upon their space. So again, giving respect to the wisdom that other people, or whatever is inherent in a situation, whether it's with a person, your job, your creative, the creative process, and again, respect enough to step back, know where your real responsibility lays, and be true to yourself. This woman's true to herself. She takes care of her family. She is financially astute. She takes great care of her health. She's not gonna, this isn't a person who's out of balance at all. She's one of my favorite queens. And she is, again, very elephant-like, very long-standing. Going to go the extra mile if she, really knows, she kind of calculates the cost, like, she, sits down and strategizes, like, what is it that I can really do here? Not in a way that's, this isn't an upside down queen. This is in a way of, what can I really do here? What is really of greatest benefit? Like, how can I nurture this thing so we're all growing? That's what came up in that Two of Pentacles yesterday. Like, what's the best relationships for me? How can I best relate to anything? Friendships, anything that's long term. How can I best relate to this in a way that all parties grow? That we are creating a garden. I saw a tea tag on my counter just a little while ago. A garden is a solace to the soul and the eye, or something like that. It was by Saadi. I'll also post that in the comments. She's a great gardener. She's got a green thumb. No matter what she touches is going to grow. So she invests herself wisely. She takes her time. Elephant. And this is stuff that's, she knows what matters, not only to her, she knows what matters to herself, and she takes the time to learn what matters to other people. Really good listener. Passionate. Is wise with her time, her energy. There's two more. Take these. Jaguar. Queen of Swords. We've got two queens on the board. Again, this gal's no joke. She's been there. She's done it. She knows how to step back and be like, yeah, I get it. Oops, sorry. She goes after what she wants. So this is taking this energy and going after what, why I keep turning, I'm noticing the mountain. Yeah. I mean, look at the mountain. You know, just because the mountain is tall doesn't mean you don't have the capability to climb these things. It just takes time. She's a great communicator. She's a great communicator. And she employs her thought these are queens. So this is the embody of the feminine with, this is the air element is a masculine element. The earth element is a feminine element. But yeah, quick wit, facing demons, and yeah, facing demons. So, you know, whatever you're fearing, she'll look things right in the face and be like, you know what? Instead of letting the fear like overwhelm you and prevent, and then you're now in a state of paralysis and doing nothing, she'll step back, you know, like, let's just take a moment here. Let's get a different perspective. Really great queen on perspective in order to create transformation. She's a very transformative queen. She can transform and expose a faulty way of thinking or a faulty way of looking at things, or, you know, like some, you know, some mind construct that you're kind of stuck in, and turning it into something else entirely in like a kind of humorous way. Like, I had a funny conversation about how my family dynamics, my family of origin, how we grew up. And I am only like, I'm not like great years of distance away from my siblings. However, I was raised in a different environment for the first 10 years of my life and got more exposure to that environment than my siblings. And so we laugh about, my parents and I were laughing about this because I said, yeah, I felt like I grew up in, like, with Tony and Carmela Soprano, whereas my sister and brother got a different experience. They grew up in like Mayberry with Andy Griffith, Don Knotts, and Aunt Bee. Like, literally this happened. My mom and dad laughed so hard and they were like, yep, 100% accurate. Like, you know, you can either you can take that two different ways. Ace of Wands. So now we have some really strong cards on the board here. The squirrel. The squirrel's going to be very careful about what it takes in. Inspiration, bright future, false starts. So, you know, yeah, if we go too fast, if we're, you know, running amok and, you know, whatever, you're going to like take your stuff and like bury it in places that, you know, like all your stash for the winter, the things that are going to get you by, and you're going to forget where you put them, or leave them open to some other prey. But don't be afraid of the fall, so things might be, you know, not exactly the way you want them, but this is just the start of something. So instead of feeling a false start, I'm going back to the respect that this is just a start. Everything doesn't have to happen today. So you may feel a little on alert, you know, but again, facing your fear. This is the central card of the understanding, taking the time to and be inspired by what might feel a little fraught or a little like maybe you have some unfinished business or something like that, or you started something but it didn't quite get to the point where you wanted it to today. Taking our time, coming back to that elephant. I'm gonna go ahead and try to find the elephant in the Kim Krans book, just so you can at least see that she actually brings this in as a fire element and not the earth element, which is what you would expect. I also see the phoenix just come. Freedom from suffering and past karma, reincarnation. You know, stuff, you know, this is inspiration. This is just the beginnings of things. Hummingbird, vulture, crow. I know this is all air stuff. Where's the fire stuff? Oh, there's the fire element. Elephant, yeah. Fire, air. Unstoppable, auspicious, wise. When in balance, one-pointed focus, generous and loving. Pointed, generous, loving. When out of balance, misunderstands fate. You know, you're freaking out at all kinds of weird things. You're being scared of squirrels and mice, rather than like, oh, understanding, like seeing the fear and understanding it, taking that 30,000-foot view to bring back into balance, trust. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you want your own reading, direct message me. Or if you want a broader reading, I'll post the stuff about what Dorothy Morgan had to say about the upcoming full moon and how, you know, it's about bringing balance into all of that, the way we relate to things in general and why that is. She had a great blog post about it, as well as her videos. I'll post about these things. And if you want your own private reading, something, or want to have a longer discussion about this, direct message me on any of the platforms, YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. Share, like, subscribe. That, of course, always gets the messages out to whoever needs it, or directly share it to somebody who you think might need it. I love you very much. Have a great start of this Easter week. Again, it's Easter Holy Week for people who celebrate in the Christian tradition. We've just celebrated Eid, and it's Passover on Wednesday for those of the Jewish faith. So great celebrations to everybody. Much love to you today.